So one of the many changes to photos in High Sierra is how it handles live photos. Live photos are the photos taken with an iPhone that include a few seconds of video around them. Now in High Sierra Photos, Photos 3.0, you can do a lot more with these. So here we have a live photo and you can see it's indicated at the top left that it's live. I can move my cursor over the live portion here and it plays back with audio. And you can see it's just a few seconds. But you could do some more things with it. For instance, you can easily move around at the bottom here to see different parts. But now if you go to Edit, one of the things you can do is move around and actually make a different frame in the video, the key photo for this image. So if I make this one the key photo instead, this is what I'll get when I look at it as a regular photo. And I can easily go back and select the initial one. Now there's a few other things you can do. If you look down here, there's a drop down with 4 options. And the first one being live. That's just a regular photo, live photo as before. But you can set it to loop or bounce, which are going to create this looping video. Loop will of course loop forward back to the original. Now it's not actually just doing that. It's doing more, because notice that the picture is more tightly cropped. Let's go back to live and you can see more around the edges. And if I go to loop you can see it zooms in a bit. That's because it's using image stabilization, because otherwise it wouldn't work. If I go to live and I look at the beginning here and look at the bottom left hand corner here where that rock is, or the top right, and then look as I move all the way to the last frame of the video, you can see it's moved because I'm holding the iPhone in my hand, so it isn't perfectly steady. If you loop that, it would jump from the last frame to the first frame and you would see the jump. So looping is first doing image stabilization, then it's also doing a quick fade in from the last frame to the first frame, so you don't even notice where the loop is. In a picture like this with waterfall you can really not see where the loop is. But if you go to something else you can see it. Let's go to this one of waving flags, and you can see I've set this one to loop and you can see where the fade is a lot easier there. So it'll vary depending upon how you what type of photo you're using. Now also you have the ability to bounce, which will go from the first frame to the last frame and then back. That looks ridiculous for a waterfall, but for some other things it may look good or maybe just fun. And then, and this is great for waterfalls, you can do long exposure, which is going to take all the video and it's going to make it like you took a long exposure photograph. So for a waterfall it looks fantastic. It shows the motion and gives you a completely different photo than what you originally took. And of course you can have both there because you can always revert to original. So the long exposure works great for some things like this. Of course for people in it or something like that it's going to look ridiculous. But you do have these 4 options. In addition, if you go to say loop and you use that, you think, that would make a great animated GIF, or GIF if you prefer. Well, you can export as an animated GIF from these live photos now. So you can turn them into that and then upload them to websites and share them and stuff as GIFs. So they're more widely accepted in different places. You can send them in an email and all of that. So that functionality is fantastic to be able to have that in Photos.